Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) to commence the payment of depositors of 154 microfinance bank and 6 primary mortgage bank. Trader Money Initiative continues to receive accolades. Plus, Nigeria announces plans to increase its daily oil production to 1.8 million barrels per day in 2019. Welcome to Business Express, your business, investment and financial companion, reaching you from the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Today, we continue to look at the harvest time across Nigeria. I am Amina Nujaim. Welcome to the program. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation says it will soon commence the payment of depositors of the 154 microfinance banks and 6 primary mortgage banks whose licenses were revoked by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Managing Director and Chief Executive of the NDIC, Umaru Ibrahim, says the corporation would pay 100% of the funds of the depositors of the affected financial institutions. This, he said, the NDIC payout would cover 100% of the depositors. Some of the financial institutions whose licenses were revoked had failed to carry on the type of banking businesses for which their licenses were issued, while others had gone into voluntary liquidation. Meanwhile, the federal government's microcredits to petty traders aimed at increasing trade, promoting economic development and growth has continued to be applauded by traders. This was as Vice President Yemi Oshinbajo visited some markets in Lagos. Ime Udori compiled the reports.
Mary Ufele, Gerald and Esther Boko are petty traders at the Oyinbo market in Lagos. They struggle to keep their businesses going on a daily basis.
Trade money, now the way when government want to support common business. When the business them they support you, you're going to pay small.
The introduction of the federal government's social intervention program for micro businesses, the traders say, will further boost their trade and improve income.
You as a person will get business, and you know say this business not be play, they take and play. You take and one feed your family, take and pay your children's school fees. Even though say your husband they bring, you too, you go to support your husband, the thing go they move. We go they go on. Not be say we go they borrow money, eat, borrow money, do this.
A good idea. At least you have to be busy people to grow up their business.
I'll take it to buy markets to sell. To get profits on it.
Although traders in this market are yet to receive the payback loan of 10,000 naira, the excitement on their faces speak of great relief. They are optimistic that it will add to the quality of life as they queued trying to register. When the Vice President arrived the market, accompanied by Lagos State Governor Akiwumi Ambode and some market leaders, the traders could not hide their expression of gratitude. Beneficiaries of the trader money are expected to pay back within 6 months to qualify for a bigger amount after periodic review. This will be the 3rd time in the last 3 weeks that the Vice President will be visiting markets in Lagos.
Many thanks, Ime. And talking harvest and commodities, Enugu State this year witnessed a bumper harvest. Chineye Nwoye in this report for Business Express looks at the performance of crops this season, output and prices in the markets.
Farmers in Enugu State experienced bumper harvest this cropping season, with rainfall distribution greater than last planting season. The late planted crops blossomed just like the early planted crops because of late rainfall. There is, however, no available statistics as harvest is still ongoing in the state. Crops grown in the state are mainly food crops. These include rice, bambara nuts, tubers such as yam, cassava, potato, and vegetables. Other tree crops include oranges, pears, avocado, soursop, pawpaw, and guava.
Rains have extended to November, but by last year, rain stopped by October ending, making late planted crops to fail. But this year, late planted crops have been able to complete their cycle and have equally done well.
Market indices reveal their availability. For instance, a bushel of homegrown rice is sold at 6,000 naira, as against 7,500 sold last year. A small bucket of gari is sold at 250 naira, as against 1,000 to 1,200 naira sold last year. The price of yam is, however, on the high side.
We are selling this penta as last year. We used to sell it 1,001, 1,002, but the gari is very okay this year. So we do sell this penta 230, 220 for now.
Last year rice is too costly last year, because this size of rice, one bushel, it's about that. Last year it's about 7,000 or 8,000 naira.
And if you talk of this size now, we do sell this size 750, 700. Then the down one is 1,900, which is not supposed to be so. Like previous years, like that size now, we do sell it 600.
Enugu State grows swampy rice, unlike the north and other states of the country, which grow upland rice. The late rains have prolonged the drying period of the unmilled harvested rice, thereby affecting preservation and storage. In Enugu, Chineye Nwoye for Business Express.
Many thanks, Chineye from Enugu. Now, with the bumper harvest being experienced in Gombe State this planting season, grain merchants from across the country are having a field day at the popular Tudunhansi Grains Market. Talatu Lamon reports that although the markets have existed for over 80 years, the agricultural program of the Muhammadu Buhari administration has made a difference.
The Gombe Grains Market, known as Tudunhansi, is a place where a variety of grains such as maize, rice, beans, groundnuts, soybeans, bambara nuts, guinea corn, among other grains, are sold. Buyers throng to the market daily from all over the country and beyond for business purposes. Not only buyers, farmers also bring their farm produce for sale. Ugochukwu Ekweme is one of such buyers who came from Imo to buy locally produced rice.
Well, it's no difference. The difference between foreigners and the local is not much. This one is good. So it's very, very good. Our people there like it. Like the rice very well. The rice is very good. The rice is cheap. It's cheap.
Alhaji Bala Idi is the chairman Gombe State Rice Association, and Balahudu, Deputy Chairman Gombe State Grain Merchant Association, noted that the 2018 harvest season is bountiful as more people now engage in farming, making grains available and cheaper this year compared to the previous year. According to them, a bag of rice which was sold between 32,000 naira last year now sells between 26,000 and 27,000 naira. A bag of maize sold between 11,000 to 12,000 naira now sells for 7,500 naira, while a bag of groundnut that was sold previously at 24,000 naira is now sold at 22,000 naira.
There is more bumper harvest this year compared to last year. Price of grains are cheaper this year compared to last year because more people now engage in farming.
The grain dealers attributed the decrease in the prices of grains at the market to government support in agricultural practices, which include subsidy in prices of fertilizers, soft loans to farmers across the state, among other incentives. Despite the availability of locally produced rice at Gombe Main Market, Anna Sabo, a rice miller, explained that the rice processing business is lucrative as they depend solely on it as their source of livelihood. He, however, laments the unavailability of power, which slows down rice processing. Research indicates that Gombe Tudunhasi Market provides over 5,000 people with a means of livelihood.
And from Kebbi, prices of farm produce are gradually coming down in Kebbi State as harvests of crops have started in parts of the state. Abdullahi Umar Ilelu reports on the situation on ground.
State is a major producer of crops such as rice, which is produced 2 times in a year, and the rain-fed crops such as millet, sorghum, beans, soya beans, maize, and groundnut, among others. Soya beans, groundnut, and maize are, however, only produced in small quantity compared to millet and sorghum, which are the main crops in all the local government areas of the state. Millet has now been harvested, but sorghum is still being awaited to ripe for harvesting. It is for this reason that the price still remains higher than people expect. A federal government agency, Agricultural Transformation Support Program, is currently working in Kebbi State to teach farmers how to improve the quality of their produce for better prices in the markets. Farmers who were trained earlier said they have seen improvement this cropping season. Now, a bag of paddy rice sells for 8,000 naira, while a bag of millet, which has already been harvested, goes for between 9 and 10,000 naira. While sorghum, which is yet to be harvested, sells for 11,000 naira. Beans, which is not produced in large quantities, still sells for 16,000 naira. The prices of most of these crops are expected to fall at the end of harvest season.
If the harvesting period will be start, so most items be coming down.
In Benin Kebbi, Abdullah Omar Ilelu.
Joining us to speak on Nigeria's performance as the 2019 harvest season begins and the contribution of some states to the commodities market is Sunday Ohiene. He is a value chain expert. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Sunday Ohiene, from some of those reports we saw from states across Nigeria, the prices of food items seems to be coming down a lot. How would you describe the efforts of government to boost agricultural production?
Of course, the government has succeeded in stimulating production, and the people have responded by going back to the farms and producing the food. We have bumper harvest, and the challenge now is how we're going to handle these harvests.
Now, talking about handling the harvest, we have a bumper harvest.
Yeah.
So from handling to packaging to transportation to preservation, how would you assess the situation so that this bumper harvest can be benefited, the citizens of Nigeria can actually feed and have food security?
That creates a job for the value chain experts. Incidentally, the government has not come to terms with the right knowledge of the value chain system. A chain is as strong as the weakest link. And when there's a bumper harvest, the whole responsibility is with the producer. Who is going to help him to move it to the next component of the chain? I've heard stories of rice farmers who produced and they are holding the paddy because there's no processor. It's not fair. Governance is about creating that enabling environment to ensure that once you stimulate production, it moves into processing.
But talking about agriculture, like in rice production, for instance,
yeah.
the rice importation of rice has reduced a lot. So with the bumper harvest in rice, for example, Nigerians are now consuming a lot of rice. Plus, there are silos across the country to preserve such. Wouldn't you say that is part of the value chain approach by government?
It is part of the value chain approach, but we need good reports. We need statistics. We need a showcase of how production has moved into processing, has moved into packaging for the final market access.
Okay, talking about pricing of goods now that have gone down, what efforts do you think should be on ground to maintain these low prices?
Well, low prices for the benefit of who? The farmers or the consumers?
Nigerians generally.
Now we have to be very careful to be sure that the producers go back to produce. If you say there are low prices and the farmer's income is going down compared to the previous year, you think he will go back to the farm to produce? He might look for another job to do instead of going back to the farm. This is where governance comes in. The value chain system gives role to different stakeholders. Government has its own role. The research institutions have their own role. The private sector, the donors, the development partners have their own roles. If everybody is playing his own role in timely order, the components of the value chain and their actors will be protected. If the transport of the paddy from the farm to the mill, to the processing mills is not in place, the tendency is for the farmer to be sitting with the paddy.
Now we're talking
and
about,
he needs to be paid for it.
Now we're still talking about prices of goods.
Yeah.
We earlier spoke about grains when I said rice.
Yeah.
Now looking at yam and tubers, for instance, the pricing of such commodities, what's your take on that? Obviously,
there hasn't been any upsurge of prices of the tubers. As I have a personal experience of buying yams, and obviously it's cheaper than what it used to be last year. So, but when you say it's cheaper, who is benefiting from that? Me, I'm benefiting. But is the farmer benefiting? Will the farmer be able to go back to produce the yam for next year's consumption? And looking at this whole thing, we are looking at ourselves as if we are not part of the global village. There is a bigger market which we are not accessing.
Now, in the long run and in closing, what's the way forward?
The way forward is for us to look at ourselves as a component of the global system. Okay. When you produce yam and you are saying yam is getting cheaper locally here and getting higher in price locally, what is the price in the global market? What is the price in Europe? What is the price of yam in the US? Is it yam or is it chips? Is it processed flour of yam? What is it supposed to be? That is the value chain system. And I told you earlier about your dress and mine. This is the cotton value chain. But the farmers will not see this on their farms because they produce the cotton. And it has to be processed, it has to be milled, and it has to be designed by the designers. So the whole thing is that we need to upgrade our knowledge of the value chain systems and how to manage them. We are the experts, but nobody is consulting us. This is our job.
Many thanks, Sunday Ohiene, a value chain expert. Thanks for joining us on Business Express today.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure too.
Now moving on, Nigeria is to increase its daily oil production to 1.8 million barrels per day in 2019. Let's take a look at prices of oil and other commodities. The stock market sustained its adverse reaction to the news report about a possible acquisition of Diamond Bank even after the well-publicized denial of such a move by the two banks concerned. By the end of trading Tuesday, Access grew by plus 0.64% and Diamond Bank dropped by minus 9.84%, while the share price of Access grew by plus 1.95% to that of Diamond Bank, dropping by minus 17.97% 2 days after the potential news broke. Now, Sabinos Chukwu, a stockbroker with Stallion Union Securities, is in the studio, and we will be looking briefly at the Nigerian stock market. Mr. Sabinos, the stock market seems to be reacting to the report of possible acquisition of Diamond Bank. Is that true?
Well, really, it was not only reacting to the possible acquisition of Diamond Bank, it was also reacting to S&P global rating of Diamond Bank.
Okay.
It was downgraded from B plus to CCC minus. In other words, getting to the lowest, almost the lowest rating. Yeah, because for what reason? One was that they looked at, Diamond Bank has $200 million Euro bond.
Okay. As far as the Central Bank of Nigeria is concerned, and other possible investors, what needs to be done to convince investors that there's no problem, or is there a problem?
There is really, I would say there is a little problem, but it's not an unsurmountable problem.
Okay.
In the first place, the issue of non-performing loans. Diamond Bank has about 40%, 40% right now.
Okay.
The issue of like I said, they borrowed $200 million. Okay. That will be due by May next year.
Okay.
And in terms of foreign exchange liquidity, people are suspicious.
Okay.
They're suspecting that they may not be able to meet it up. However,
okay,
they are selling off their subsidiaries.
Yes.
They have sold out of South Africa. Now that of UK, they're also looking for buyers, and they are negotiating with some people.
Okay.
So the capital, what I may call the capital gain from such exercise, will definitely help. Will definitely help them. Apart from that, that Diamond Bank, they have SPVs, an offshore SPV that is specifically mobilizing forex currency liquidity.
Okay.
That will help the bank. So it's likely that if all these are done and they're able to realize whatever from the sale, they'll be able to take care of the loan, the $200 million loan. Another thing you have to understand is that Diamond Bank, maybe the negative aspect of it, for quite some time they have not paid dividend. They have not paid dividend.
Okay.
So any negative information on there, people will definitely react.
Okay. Many thanks, Sabinos Chukwu of Stallion Union. Standard Union. It's been a pleasure having you on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, from the Nigerian Stock Exchange is another day of decline, the 14th of November, as the NSE All-Share Index ended trading in the red by minus 1.4% to close at 32,108.92 basis point, while market capitalization stood at 11.7 trillion naira. Now that's a wrap on the program today. Remember, you can send us your feedback via email businessexpress@nta.gov.ng. You can also reach us through our Twitter handle, NTA News Now. Don't forget the hashtag BizExp showing on your screen now. Until we come your way again, I am Amina Nujaim. Thank you for being a part of the program.